So what are the most powerful angel numbers?
I mean,
666. Is it really devil number? And Mystic Michaela, aka Megan Firestar, is an author, podcast host who specializes in reading auras.
when you start raising your vibe, your life changes. And that's why a lot of people don't want to do it.
You heard it here first, folks. Do you find colors on people all the time?
There's 8 aura colors. Everyone has at least one empath aura color.
Teasing us because you're aura farming. Hello, welcome back to Getting Open with me, Andrea Miller. Oh my gosh, today's show is so different and so fun. I mean, we kick off with aura farming, ding, ding, ding. If you're like, I don't even know what that is, you're in for a treat. And especially if you have teens or tweens, something to torture them with. We get into angel numbers. We are all going deep into what auras mean and how you can improve yours. And we even get into telepathy, and spoiler alert, yes, it's real. And we talk about how you can tap into your emotional telepathy and so much more with my amazing guest. So let's get into it. Mystic Michaela, aka Megan Firestar, that name is so appropriate. I want your name. I really do. Is an author, podcast host, and 4th generation psychic medium who specializes in reading auras. Her true passion is guiding people through spirit to live their own authentic lives. Michaela has a thriving practice of personal clients, conducts aura reading workshops and events. She is the host of the podcast Know Your Aura, which is awesome because I've listened to it, and has been featured in Well and Good, Cosmo Shape, Mashable, Hello Giggles, and so many other amazing news and media outlets. Welcome, Michaela. I'm so excited to have you on Getting Open.
Thank you so much for having me, Andrea. I'm so happy to be here. And I listen to your podcast too, and I've really gotten a lot out of it. So thank you.
Oh, I mean, isn't it the best? It's so fun to be a podcast host. I'm like, how did I get this job? I'm so lucky.
I know. I feel the same way. It's like a fun way to be creative and helpful too.
Totally. I mean, 100%. Okay. So I want to start with aura farming. Are you happy that that term has become so popular? At least
this
with
is
the younger
first
set.
time I've heard aura farming.
Oh, that makes me feel so good. All right. So I'm just going to give a little background to this. My kids are, they're 12 and 15. So I've got all the teen and tween lingo, and I like to weaponize it. So really funny. Maybe we can clip this in to the segment. I did a little video a handful of weeks ago talking about aura farming. And essentially, it's like you're taking in and radiating and just like you're like in that like really good or, you know, high vibe space, right? So I did a video where I pretended to be aura farming just to bug my kids. And they're like, oh my God, our friends are like teasing us because you're aura farming in public. So the kids are into aura farming. And now because, you know, I like to mess with them, I too am into aura farming.
I understand because I have a 16-year-old. So I totally understand weaponizing their own terms against them. And they get so, oh my gosh, Mom, you're so cringe, you know, when you say something.
Totally. Oh, you're sus. You know, you're also sus.
Like, you're so sus. You're so cringe. Like, I'm not allowed to say any of these words because they get like really stressed out when I do it.
Oh, no, you totally, now you need to. Now, permission granted. From mom to mom.
I've seen people say like, oh, he's got no aura, you know, like that. Or
no
she's got big aura. Like,
yeah.
Does that make sense?
Well,
okay.
Totally. And then my, the latest is unspoken riz. Like if you got real riz, unspoken.
That is, you are way deeper into it than I am. And I'm really proud of you. And I feel like it is your job to actually educate all of us moms on how to make our kids feel cringe by being
Oh my God,
sus.
totally. I relish in it. I delight in it. It's like, oh, I want to mess with my kids. Okay, so back to aura farming. So, I mean, in a big way. So, okay, you're not familiar with that. But the truth is there is something in the zeitgeist that the young kids are tapping into, something that you've known about because you've been doing so for so long, right? So when you think about now, aura farming, like, is that real? Like, do you feel like you can kind of just sit and radiate and project your aura?
Yeah, I'm still not clear on what the kids' meaning of that word is, but what I'm gathering from it is, and I notice this with the younger generation too, they're very much into owning who they are and being authentic, and then like radiating it out, building it out, like, sending it out to people, kind of like showing up as yourself. And I love how they have new words for things. That's why I love like kids. I used to be a teacher, so I always loved like working with kids and hearing how they interpreted energy or new things. And yeah, to me, I feel like that is a real thing. It's something where it's like, who am I? And let's radiate it out there in a way that's authentic. I think like the younger generation is really big on authenticity, showing up as yourself, not pretending to be somebody else, and kind of having that charisma in whatever way it's within you. And that's totally resonates with how I see energy on people, because when you do it as you, not as who you think you should be or how you've been programmed to be, there is a difference and people notice it, and it comes across as confidence, and it comes across as likability and also opportunity. So I think it's real. I'm always going to go with the kids. I'm always team that.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, on a bit more of even a serious note, I have just recently started taking 2 or 3 times per day, maybe 2, 1 or 2, for pure silence and not meditating. I meditate every day. I write my journal. I mean, I do other things for relaxation and so forth. But I have found just sitting in silence, trying not to think, like, okay, I'm noticing the thought, but just sitting. I live in Colorado, so I'm surrounded by trees and beautiful nature. When I've sat there in silence and it's like I can feel almost like this tingling in my body, the thought bubble over my head is, oh, this is aura farming, because it feels good. Like I'm not doing anything. Like I am literally being, which is a big deal for me as a super like major type A. I always say type AAA Aries, mom, entrepreneur, like podcast host, like I got so much going on. So for me, just to sit in like genuine sense in not even just silence, stillness has really helped me feel like just not doing, but being has helped me feel like there is this kind of energetic upgrade that I've been giving myself. So for what it's worth, tying it back to aura farming.
Yeah, and all your aura is really like an energy signature. And if you think everybody has their own brand of energy, their own unique signature around them, when you tap into that and you clear out all the things that your aura can accumulate from other people and from, environments you're in or past programming or traumatic situations or anything that just kind of slips its way in when you're doing something like you just said, like you're just sitting and you're being and you're sitting in self. And you're also like dealing with the stuff that comes up and just kind of waving to it, patting it on its head and letting it kind of keep going. You're good. I see you. I acknowledge you, but we're moving on right now and just sitting in me. That is so good for your energy. It clears it out. And people notice it, and then your body notices it too, because then you're feeling less stressed and your nervous system calms down and you get your best ideas that way. Like the clarity is just off the charts. So I love aura farming. I'm going to use it now that I'm borrowing.
I was going to say, you heard it here first, folks. Everybody's like, no, Andrea, we didn't. We've heard it before. But Michaela, it's new to you. No, I know there are going to be some watchers and listeners that are like, ooh, snap, aura farming. I'm going to mess with my kids. I'm here for it. But let's rewind a little bit, in a much more serious way. And I mean, genuinely, I'm so excited to talk to you. And just a little spoiler alert, I'm like ready to go in deep on telepathy. So just wait for it. But before we go there, you described an aura as an energy signature. What does that mean? And can you just like a little more on what auras are?
Yeah. So auras, first of all, I've been seeing colors around people my whole life. So that's what it looks like to me. So a lot of times it's just, I got to tell you how I see it. And then my passion is how it can interpret it, even if you don't see it. Because all it is an energy you feel on people. And it's just, sometimes we call it a vibe or an intuition, or just somebody gives you a feeling. And what you're really picking up is their energy body. your energy introduces you, or your aura, whatever you want to call it. It introduces you before you say one word. And we've all had that. It's called a first impression, or it's just like, oh, I don't like it. Sometimes it's such a knee-jerk reaction when you meet somebody, you don't even realize that you're immediately making some sort of quick assumption about them. And it's more than just a cold read.
Well, you feel, it's like you literally feel it. And you're not even conscious that you feel it because it's your body feels it.
That's right. And that's a lot of times, and my passion is teaching people this, you can read other people through how they make you feel and walking it back to, oh, wait a second, and then you can kind of, because a lot of times we'll pick up people's energy and think it's us, like, oh, when this person's around me, I'm just feeling really anxious. I'm just feeling really nervous. And they might just be projecting a lot of, I need to control the room, like that kind of thing. So auras you can consider it like you have a physical body, and then around you have an energy body. And it's just that energy radiating off of you. And it's just felt by other people. I happen to see it in color, but everybody feels it. And every single aura color has like a specific vibe that kind of goes with it. So that's like my passion. It's kind of like, what vibe am I giving off? And what vibes am I picking up? And differentiating between the two so that you're not kind of, sometimes we can get manipulated by other people's energy to do their bidding without realizing it. And it's just being more aware of what you're picking up, what you're putting down. But yeah, it's just spiritual body, your energy body around you.
Well, can I ask you this though? Because our hearts are very powerful electromagnetic device. Like that's not woo, by the way. I don't think of woo pejoratively, but some other people do. Could talk about the Wu clan from China 5,000 years ago, but not today. It was real. They're the original aura farmers. No, but in all seriousness, our hearts are a very powerful electromagnetic device. And so on the one hand, there's a spiritual part of it. And maybe, to the extent that you're seeing those colors, we all have an electromagnetic field around us that is measurable. It is not woo. It is science. It is medicine. Right. And I would think those two are inextricably linked. And I would expect that if you're somebody who has a lot of stress, a lot of shame, a lot of anger, it impacts how your heart beats, right? I would expect it does impact your electromagnetic force. I mean, there's so much research that shows when people are in coherence with another person, how it changes how their heart beats. Joe Dispenza's shared this great research on how when your heart's in gratitude, how I think it opens up your arteries and changes literally how your heart beats. And, gratitude changes us physiologically, improves our immune system, right? So it strikes me that not only is your aura a matter of a spiritual reference, but genuinely part of your physiology. Do you think that's accurate?
Yeah. I mean, I see a lot of times, because I'm a very grounded person who happens to see colors around people. And I realize how weird that sounds, like, oh, she's a lady that sees colors around people. But I'm actually really grounded in it. And what I really feel is that a lot of science is spiritual. I mean, why are they separate? Why are it? And it's possible that in spirituality, there's a lot of words that, are different for the same thing in science. And throughout, sometimes they intersect and sometimes they go way apart. But I feel like there's a lot of intersections. And I love when people who are different from me and they can come in and explain something scientific. A lot of times, for example, because I see colors around people, I've been asked over and over again, hey, do you have synesthesia? Like I get that all the time. And maybe, maybe I have energy around people, synesthesia or something. But I feel like there's a lot of different words that can be used for things that are woo-woo and things that are science and actually like coexist together or intersect or could be the same thing.
I got to tell you, you'd made a reference on the Telepathy Tapes podcast that I listened to the other day, and how your frustration, which I share, that there is so much judgment and closed-mindedness around these so-called woo things because they can't be seen, they can't be measured. You predicted it might be 200 or 300 years before there's emerging. I would say a 10th of that. I would say like
I hope
20th
so.
of that. Well, and by the way, it's happening. I mean, Joe Dispenza's research, even Dr. Dan Siegel, that amazing researcher, clinician, author at UCLA. I mean, there are so many very credible, serious researchers, PhDs, MDs, scientists that are really creating bridges between the woo, the mystical, the spiritual, if you will, consciousness, and making a case for how it can be explained in quantum physics, right? And back to this idea that we are all 99.9999% energy, right? I mean, we feel solid, like check these muscles. But the truth is, it's just a bunch of electrons, whirling around or whirring, I guess that'd be the word. And it's interesting. So it's interesting to me that the couple of the points that I love coming back to, for those of you who are like, oh God, Andrea, you're kind of going, you're losing me. I just want to say this. Before Copernicus, everybody was certain that the Earth revolved around the sun, or that the sun, or rather, rewind, that the sun revolved around the Earth, right? That was so obvious to everybody. How you would have to be really stupid. You'd have to be really, crazy, right, to think that. And then Copernicus proved it, right? And, flat Earth, okay, the Earth is flat. Well, not till people started circumnavigating the globe. I think it was Niels Bohr who discovered subatomic particles. Like, who would believe that they were so small? And then they got even smaller, neutrinos and so forth. So for the disbelievers out there, I'm just saying, do yourself a favor, suspend your disbelief, be open, even though you can't necessarily, most of us, mere mortals, can't measure this stuff, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's not real. And so I want to come back to auras. So will you just talk a little bit about why it's important to read auras, and what can you do with it, and what do you want people that are following you to learn from your work, and how they can, if you will, upgrade their auras?
So I think just to the point, what's real, what's not real. My big thing is not convincing anybody of anything. Everybody should sit and definitely come to their own conclusions. I'm big on that, especially in this world where there's so many people telling you so many things. Definitely have to find your own way. But I was a teacher, and my big thing is I see colors around people, and I was. But
by the way, do you find colors on people all the time, or
yeah.
only when you're? Okay, so real quick, can you tell me my color?
Yeah,
I'm nervous.
But it makes more sense if you understand what it is. And there's no bad colors.
So we'll
there's zero bad colors. So you're green and yellow and indigo. And it can get really deep. The indigo part with you, I feel like is something you feel really sensitive. You feel like you're a real big, somebody who feels other people's feelings as your own. And you're big. I feel like because of that, your huge life purpose is solving stuff. So I feel like it's like
busted.
I have to solve it. I gotta do it. I'll do it. So and yellow is when you said type A, that's yellow. Very planner, on top of things. Always seeing things coming down the pike and being oh, that could happen. I got plan B, C, D, E, F, G, all that. And then you're green too. That's interesting. I wonder if you were a green indigo kid, and what happened was you started wearing yellow, and that's all society stuff. It's very deep. But there's green, and the green I see is patterns and systems and putting things together, and a need to create bridges where there aren't any. So bridges in thought, like you do here, and probably bridges, in other careers or areas of your life. You're hey, I can make this easier. Let's rework this program. Let's rework this system so that there's ease and flow, and people can, collect I solved the problem, because I feel that's your main indigo motivator, if that makes sense. So it's a lot of working through process solving and systems flow, if that makes sense. But yeah, it's a really cool aura. It's very, it's hard to be a green woman in our society because you can probably have really good ideas often. And the big thing is, as a woman in our world, because gender always plays a role in energy, it's don't be too special. Don't be too loud. Don't raise your hand first. Nobody like you. Keep your mouth quiet, like that. So it can be hard to have all these ideas.
So is green kind of assertive or kind of loud and, kind of sassy or what? I mean, I'm trying to figure out
that's the labels that you get, but
wow.
You probably learned because you're here and we all have to adapt to society, how to tone it down or tap it down in order to, or read the room, but you feel like you've built contexts where you don't have to do that. And you can be like, actually, here's my space and I'm going to do things my way in a good way, because you can move faster when you're not held back by other people's needs for you to be a role or something, if that makes sense.
And Michaela, I'm like kind of blown away. I'm like, how are you seeing all this? We just met each other. I want to like dive under my desk.
Oh my God.
Like that is uncanny.
Well, you have a beautiful
how did you
aura.
know that?
Well, your indigo is so deep. Like it's like a pool. Like it's so deep and big. And I feel like it's really hard to be that sensitive. It's really, really hard because you're really energetically responsible. So I feel like a big thing with you is protecting yourself from other people's stuff, but also protecting them by making sure nobody feels burdened by your feelings. So I feel like and that just feels like a lot of programming and childhood stuff or whatever. So I feel like a big thing with you is making sure that you're constantly giving and solving and being there. I mean, that's like a progression and a lot, but your indigo's really big and you just feel like you have a huge heart.
Oh my gosh,
you do. Yeah.
Wow.
I love yellows. I really do. They're like they're my secret kind of favorite.
Okay. Yeah. I won't tell anybody. Nobody. Hey, you guys are watching this. Do not tell everybody that Michaela prefers yellow. Oh my God. That literally, guys, that's uncanny that you could literally see that on me, because you've nailed it. Like literally nailed it.
I love yellows though, because like yellow, you guys are always like it's hard to stay present. So good for you meditating, and it's hard to take a break, and it's hard to have good self-talk, and the perfectionism's real, and it's a lot, and you're always going. It's hard. So I love a yellow because they're working so hard and they don't think they are. It's like a little duck, like you don't see the feet under the water. Those are yellow words.
That's why I relish that stillness and that silence that I was talking about. It's like, oh, I can do this. Like, I don't have to be like the little duck, like paddling all the time. Good to know. Right. Okay. But hang on. So that's amazing. Thank you. What a gift. I didn't mean to interrupt your flow. So rewinding. So, we talked about kind of what an aura is for everybody watching and listening, who I'm sure is so intrigued right now. You better be. How do they know their own aura colors? And then what can they do with that?
There's 8 aura colors, the way I see it. And again, I used to be a teacher, so I have put this in a parameter that makes sense. You know what I mean? I organized it. And usually you're 2 aura colors. Usually you're special. You got 3. So usually you're 2 aura colors. There's logic aura colors and there's empath aura colors. Okay. So usually everyone has at least one empath aura color. For example, yours is indigo. So the empath aura colors are indigo, purple, turquoise, and blue. And you definitely have one of those, or you have both of those. You're like a double empath. Then it's very possible you could be like Andrea here, and you could have a logic color with an empath color. So the logic colors are yellow, green, red, and there you go. So that's what you get. And then there's pink too. Pink is like, we'll talk about that. But like, well, there we go. So that's how it works out. Usually with logic colors, so that's yellow, green, and red. This is kind of energies that are more acceptable in society. So yellows are organized.
Well, it sounds like it's more from the head, right? I mean, it almost like head versus heart. Okay, that makes sense.
100%. So true. And society is set up more like the systems in our own society is set up that way. So a lot of them, like, you go to the bank, you got to start thinking green a little to do your banking, or you go to Home Depot, you better be thinking, and you want to redo your bathroom. You're like, I'm going to do it myself. Like, you got to get your yellow on, okay, to kind of figure out what looks good and design and stuff like that. Or, you want to go be a police officer. Well, you better get your red on because it's time for you to lead others and be assertive and whatnot. So that's like, and so even if you don't have one of those aura colors, you can sometimes wear one, and that's when things get sticky. And so like reds are direct and assertive, and yellows are organized and curious, and greens are logical, like kind of engineering brains, I call them.
By the way, I just want you to know, I do have a mechanical engineering degree, so you nailed it.
That is insane. Were you the only girl in your class?
Just about. But I'm going to give a shout out to one of my favorite people, Vicky Sang. If it wasn't for her, I would have never made it. She's my girl. I mean, from a million years ago. Yeah. Oh, yeah. She wasn't traumatized. I was. She was like so smart and organized and calm. I was like, love you, Vicky, Vic Meister.
It's so
but yeah, there were not very many women. I mean, and still, like, it's just still so, I mean, there are more women in engineering now, but just because you had mentioned that, because I was thinking, oh my God, that totally tracks. Okay, but so how can people know what their aura color is, and then how does that help them?
Yeah, so kind of understanding what deeply motivates you. All right. So it's and you can think you're motivated by something, but you got to sit with that and be like, wait a second, no, what am I really motivated by? And that can be hard to sit with. For example, I don't know, we're parents, so we can talk about it in like parenting, for example, wanting to help your kid with their homework. Like, I want you to do good in your math class, for example. What's the motivation here? Okay, is the motivation you want them to get an A on the test, and be the best in the class? Or is the motivation you want them to fit in? Is the motivation you want to make sure that they feel like they're doing their best work? Motivations are where your aura lies. Blues usually are about connection, family, fitting in. Purple is about creativity and rebelliousness and making your own way. And, red can be like leadership. Yellows can be on top of it. Perfect. Let's do the best we can, because why not? Like that. So you really got to deep down into what motivations are. Sometimes, though, the way that you were raised, you can think values are different than motivations. So it's kind of like you might have values, but you got to kind of check them a lot, cross-check them with your motivations. Like, but what am I really motivated in? Do I want the people at work to like me because I want to move up and be their boss? Or do I want them to like me because I have this deep need to be liked, like that? And it can be kind of sometimes really stressful to sit with yourself and get real. Like, I really just need to be liked, and I have this thing where I just need people to love me, because if they don't, then I get stressed out. And usually that's like blue or indigo, and it's hard because in our society, we're told a lot that's weak. But it's not. It's just getting real with yourself. So anyway, so how you know what aura color you are is you sit with your motivation, see what's motivating you, and go from there. Of course, I mean, I have a quiz, knowyouraura.com. There's like a free quiz there. That's another easy way. but that's like it's very deep, and that's the crux of it. And I can go through the colors too, one by one, or whatever you want to do. But that's kind of how it works.
Yeah, let's do quick go through the colors. But before that, do aura colors change over time? If somebody said that they're an indigo, but they really want to be a purple, like maybe I said, I really want to be a rebel. Can you change your aura color, or is that kind of locked in?
Yeah, that's a problem, because like you can't, like you.
I really don't want to be a rebel. I was just using that as an example.
Like, I'm indigo purple, right? Like, if I really want to be an engineer, Mystic Michaela is going to have a problem. And I'm going to set myself up for a lot okay,
so it's really your essence. It sounds like it's really your essence.
It's your essence. The energy I notice throughout life can change, just like our bodies do, right? Like, as we age, as we have scars, as we go through stuff, our bodies get stronger and tougher and more resilient, and our auras do too. So I see like changes in texture or hues or how you wear it, but mostly it's you. You can sometimes wear a color to get through something. I joke, I call it a GSD aura color, like a get stuff done aura color. Like, sometimes people aren't yellow, but they're like, I got to do my taxes. I'm putting on my yellow. Let's go. You can do it easier if you have that role model in your life. If, let's say, you had a green dad or a yellow mom, you can kind of wear those colors a little easier because you know how they think. Anywho, but yeah, it doesn't really change. It just grows with you.
Okay. So real quick, let's do a quick summary of what the different colors represent.
Okay. So reds are direct, assertive, take charge leaders, good natural instincts. And usually I see these people, small business owners, police officers, military. Blues are naturally empathic, sensitive people, caregivers. I see them as like nurses, therapists, teachers. I mean, they're working with a lot of people. Indigos are like blues, but it's like more quality than quantity with the caregiving. So they're better off one-on-one. And they're very good with absorbing other people's pain bodies. So usually I'll see them in deep trauma therapy kind of situations, or, speech therapists for little kids, things like that. Yellows are your organized, curious multitaskers. They are really into self-improvement, like constantly. And they love direct, honest communication. I'll see these, realtors or interior designers or like me, where they take control. Purples are creative, intuitive, rebels. They crave change, artistic outlets, a lot of artists, musicians. But honestly, a lot of purples are people that just can't do 9 to 5. And they'll just job hop a lot to different things. Greens are your logical, intellectual, detail-oriented thinkers who crave like projects that challenge them. So I'll see like engineers, but I'll also see like greens. There's so many different types of greens. Like I call them like science greens. Like I'll see little scientist greens or, hiker, like a lot of nature enthusiasts, technology. They can be like software, things like that. Turquoises are compassionate healers. Usually they mirror others to show them what they need to change. I see a lot of turquoises in the woo-woo world. I do see them like Reiki, like aromatherapy, like they're running the vitamin shop down the street from you, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then pinks. Pinks are optimistic, pure energies. They tend to be like kind of hopeless romantics, and they often get the rap from society that they never grew up, like a Peter Pan syndrome, but they're delightful. So those are the energy colors. And yeah, you have 2, and you kind of see what resonates and then go from there.
You said you always have 2. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And then sometimes
most people
3.
have 2. Yeah, like
okay.
You're just you have I call them tricolors. Yeah, and it's a whole thing. Like I have so many words for like tricolor tornado. Like when all your energies are talking at the same time, it's like it's a lot. Tricolors have it a little hard because it's hard. You've got so many energies coming in at once. It can be a challenge.
So when it comes to vibe and aura and all that jazz, what do you recommend for people who are trying to raise their vibe? And and now, like you say, none of them are bad, right? They all have their pros and cons. But for people who are like, yeah, I want to be at my highest frequency and highest vibe, what do you recommend?
Yeah, being around. Okay, so vibration has to do with feeling good without avoiding the shadow work. So it's kind of distinguishing like good challenge or good stress versus bad challenge, bad stress. So forcing yourself, for example, to be in a friendship with somebody who has had a pattern of treating you poorly, that is not good for you. Like that is not you being a good person. That is actually lowering your vibe. Taking the time to work on yourself, go to therapy, and make friends with people who now match that is good for you. That is not making you a bad person. That makes you a good person because you're working on yourself. And that's high vibe. So a lot of times, like raising your vibration, yes, it can be, there's all the shortcuts we see. Like I can wave a crystal around me. I can go walk barefoot in my backyard. But honestly, a lot of it's the shadow work, or the therapy we do, or the making the life choices that say to our energy, I respect you, and I'm going to give you the space you need to be healthy and safe and thrive. Because the more you give to you in that regard, the more you can help others, and if you think about that, just as like a parent, for example, like the more I take care of myself, the better mother I am. So it's not selfish, or if I'm going to end this relationship with somebody who we've had a pattern, it's not working for us. Maybe we evolved out of each other. That's okay. I'm not going to waste their time either, and I'm going to move on kindly. So it's kind of just making those hard choices, changing. When you start raising your vibe, your life changes. And that's why a lot of people don't want to do it, because it's scary. I say we don't do what's good for us. We do what's normal for us a lot until we know better.
And say that again.
Yeah. We don't do what's good for us. We do what's normal for us.
Okay, guys, everybody listening and watching, take it to heart. Right? I mean, because so often you know better, right? But you were stuck in what is comfortable. Even though that comfortable thing is, to your point, probably not that good for you.
Even if it's traumatic, I'm good at this. I'm good at dysfunction. I know how to handle that situation. I do not know how to handle this higher vibe situation. I feel awkward in it. I feel like I'm learning. I feel stupid. I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. That's okay. That's good stress. That's good challenge. That's what raises your vibe. It feels weird to raise your vibe because you're in a situation where you have to level up, and that can be uncomfortable. And there's a growth period where you feel silly. But
there's also a letting go, right? I mean, it's kind of back to your, even though you may be unhappy and uncomfortable in what's normal, there is a perverse comfort in that, right? So by definition, there's a grief when it comes to saying I'm choosing to release those negative thoughts, which are mostly subconscious, right? Or at least sometimes not. Sometimes they're very conscious. It's like, oh, I suck.
Sometimes they're screaming at you.
Yeah. But I mean, but even then, if they're screaming at you, there's even more under the surface. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting to think. So I was conflating aura with vibe, but I feel like they're really different.
Yeah,
I mean, they can go hand in hand.
Yeah, it's kind of like your body. Like your body can be healthy or your body can be unhealthy. Like your vibe can be healthy, your vibe can be unhealthy. I'm sorry, your aura can be healthy, your aura can be unhealthy. And then your vibe kind of correlates to that. Like the healthier your aura is, the more leveled up your vibe is, because you can't exist on a plane where you're not agreeing with the environment around you. It's kind of like, I don't know, like when you put your kid in, it's always when you put a kid in, like, all right, they're going to school for the first time. They're like, I hate it. It's awful. It's off. Everything's new. I don't know anybody. And what do you say? You're like, just stick with it. It's fine. Give it a week. You'll love it. You know what I mean? And we don't say that to ourselves enough, I think. Like, just sit there. You're fine. This is good for you. Look it on paper. Like, we're not taking you out of school just because you don't like your friends. Yeah, like, like that. And I think we don't do that for ourselves enough because it's so uncomfortable. When our aura gets healthy, our vibe raises, but then all the energy around us, we have to get used to it. So acclimating is a whole thing with vibe and aura and whatnot.
Oh my gosh. Let's switch gears real quick to, I said a few minutes ago, I suddenly, like literally a week ago or 10 days ago, I became obsessed with telepathy. And I've never really thought about it. And then I listened to your podcast on the telepathy tapes and how you and your colleague were like, duh, like everybody's telepathic to a certain extent. So I was like, a little like, I'm like thinking, I'm freaking getting wackadoodle over here. Like, I think I'm telepathic. I feel like I'm tapping into, these other people's thoughts and emotions. And it just, and in a more serious note, where we were talking about a little while ago, consciousness is real. The collective unconscious is real, right? We're energy and consciousness. So, I mean, there's a part of me that's like, okay, this feels like the engineering judgmental side of me is like, okay, this feels wackadoodle. But there were times, when I felt like I was connecting with somebody else, like I felt it in my body. I was so convinced like this is real. So is telepathy real? And and if it is, then how do we hone it a little bit more?
This all the time too. I think, we hear all the amazing stories of telepathy and we're like, well, I can't do that. And it's like, okay, maybe not, but I bet you're doing it in other ways. Like for you,
more
for example,
subtle
Andrea,
ways, right?
Yeah, totally. Like you're indigo. So people who are indigo and people who are blue, a lot of it can be you feel people's emotions. So you can be like an emotional with your telepathy. You can be telepathic
I'm
emotionally.
Not like reading somebody's grocery list. Like, let's be real. You know what I mean? It's not that. It's much more kind of amorphous and like very much more of a feeling and connecting. right? Versus, okay, we're doing math. We're over here like solving calculus problems.
Yeah, no, because you're indigo, you can pick up people's emotional bodies and there's no space or time, so what happens is they kind of can cross into yours very easily on that plane. I sound crazy. I get it. But there's like in another dimension where our energy kind of can move more freely. Your aura or your energy signature can kind of communicate with other people's energy signature. And it's easier if you're indigo sometimes or blue, although I hear this from everybody. And if you lead with that, and it's kind of like it's so many different things. Like you might be in the shower and all of a sudden you're like feeling devastated and remembering like an ex or something. Like, and you're like, oh, and it comes out of nowhere and you're like, and if you don't know any better, you might think that you're missing or you're reminiscing or you're like, what does this mean? Am I not happy in my relationship or something like that?
Yeah, why am I thinking about this person? Totally.
What's wrong with me? But really, you're just picking it up on the plane of, and usually you can find out later because now we're so connected socially, fortunately and unfortunately, you can kind of be like, oh my gosh, I went through divorce. Oh, wow. Why is that so weird? Why was I just thinking of them? And this kind of happens a lot to us and people that are distant. Way easier if you know somebody or have like a connection with them, or people who are sometimes even, I think we don't notice it as much as if it's our children or our partners or our really good friends or people we see all the time. We just pass that off like, oh. But if you start paying attention to it more, you might be like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling my partner's feelings. Something's going on with them and they're not telling me. And I'm looking, hold on. Or it could be like a neighbor. Sometimes you ever look at like the house down the street and you're like, what's going on with them? It's a nagging like feeling. So it's a lot of like picking up energy from other people. So it's like emotional telepathy. That's how I think a lot of people can relate to it easier.
Yeah. And that was my experience. And it was just so, I always say like, there are no coincidences. I know a lot of us think that. So as I said, it was funny to me as I was, looking through your podcast and that one came up, I was like, you got to be kidding me. Of course, it's on telepathy. And, it'd be, different if I was like, oh, I'm totally on this telepathy train for yours. Like I'm on a 10-day train and here it is. So that is so fascinating. Okay. Before we wrap up, I want to get to angel numbers because that is a long time train that I've been on. I love angel numbers, but let's, if you can just explain what they are as a starting point, then we can go a little deeper.
Numbers have been around forever. They're rooted in numerology. It's kind of just, and it's one of those things like where you might be seeing repeating numbers all the time. And you can say to yourself, and this is what I tell people who are like, oh, it's just a coincidence, or I'm just noticing it because I'm noticing it, And I say to those people, whenever you think they're popping into your life, just take the good from it either way. Because the way I see it is they're programmed from a spiritual source or a high vibrational source to give you specific messaging. And if you're noticing them a lot, and sometimes it gets to the point where it's so like beyond coincidence to synchronicity, it becomes, okay, what does this mean? And I think getting open is like also saying to yourself, you know what? Who cares if it's woo-woo? Who cares if it's not? If this is a positive message that can help my life, why not?
Well,
so
I think of it as just like this little, even, for me, because I see them all the time. To your point, whether it's something from a higher version of me or something outside of me, or just now I'm noticing, it's like, I always feel like love is where you look for it. And if that's your attitude, you're going to find more love, right? Because that's where you look for it, right? And I feel like it's the same with the angel numbers. Like I'm seeing 1111 all the time. I'm seeing, 333 and 444. And I want to, you tell us what the best numbers are. But to me, it really becomes a matter of we're all creating our own realities. And so when I think about like, I'll literally feel my heart kind of like take a little beat when I pick up my phone and it's suddenly 1111. And I'm like, oh yeah, good good reminder. So let's start with 1111. That's one of the most powerful ones. What does that mean?
It's like 1111 is a powerful like manifestation number, like 111 or 1111. I always say like the fourth number on there is kind of like your exclamation mark from spirit or angels, whatever you want to call it. I call it spirit. When you like, it's kind of like you're the architect of your own life. You are creating with your thoughts. Thoughts are reality.
And your feelings, right?
Yeah. And it doesn't mean you have to erase all sadness going on like at all. Actually, don't do that. Get in touch with it. Yeah, like own it and just be like, okay, you know what? Today's a rough day, but I put on lipstick and I am here and I'm good. And you know what? Got it. I validate myself, and you're right there. Your mindset shifts. And that is the big message of that number. Like, get your mindset right. I'll call it a screenshot number. Like the universe is taking a screenshot of your mindset right now and wants you to make sure you're in a good spot so it can replicate it. So immediately I create my reality. I am grateful for this life. Like just switch it a little bit. And yeah, and that's
it's like a little mini alarm clock. I just think of it like I'll see these numbers or like 1010 or 1001 or, you know, and I'll be like, oh, okay, just it's so easy to be so distracted in our work and our everything. Like to me, it's just this little mini wake up call that I always accept as a gift to go, oh, snap. Yeah, great. Gratitude. And I'm on the right path and I trust my intuition, right? So it's really become part of my multiple times a day practice of being, I mean, honestly, bottom line for me is ultra present. And this is somebody who wasn't present, who was always in my head, never in my body, right? It's like I'm always out there in the future, building the bridge, trying to fix stuff, right?
Yellow.
And so now as somebody who's much more embodied, it's like, oh, I'm giving, whether it's me or my angel guides, giving myself that, you know, probably 10 times a day, like see, and mostly it's on my phone, not going to lie, but it'll be on a receipt or, we see numbers in all sorts of places. So what are the most powerful angel numbers?
I mean, I think like, because you have a personal relationship with your angel guides, your high vibrational team, they're going to start sending you numbers that are kind of like between you two, like that. And you'll notice like your spirit guides will have like a sense of humor. Like obviously yours are coming at you like they're like, oh, Andrea better see it 100 times today. Like they know it's not just twice. Like they like got to send it to you a lot in a lot of different ways. So everybody's angels are different because they know like what you'll agree to or understand. I love one thing it's a bad, but I actually really 555 is change. Change is coming your way. And I think people get so stressed out when they're change, because our ego selves, our human selves are so nerve-wracked by the thought of change, but change is good. Change is what you want because your mindset has leveled up. So whenever I see 555 and people are like, is that change? Is that, no, it's good. Change is good. We want change, but any number is good. I think like you just got to take your message from it and implement it and move on. Sometimes I call them like angel winks. So it's kind of your special number from spirit. Like I always get 716. Like that seems to be my weird.
Oh, okay. So I would have never thought of that as an angel number.
Yeah. You can have personalized sometimes people get it from, to go mediumship route, like people on the other side, like, oh, I see my grandpa's birthday or something like that.
Okay.
So some people see that. Some people see their own birthday all the time.
Oh, yeah. I see. Yeah. I'm a April 14th baby. So I see 414 now a lot more often.
Yeah. So that's kind of like it. The way I describe it is like your angels are kind of just, they're in the stands like, hey, we're here. We're supporting you. You're good. Or they'll kind of do it it's like breadcrumbing. Like, okay, keep going like that. Yeah.
It's
all
like
positive. Yeah. It's
okay. What about, I got to ask though, 666. Is it really the devil number and Satan is mad at us?
Yeah. It's I what I get from 666 and what I read about with it is personal responsibility. Like when you see it, it's like spirit being like, girl, like check yourself. Are you spending too much? Are you eating something that's not good for you? Are you too concerned with how you look to others? Like, what is the thing that is your vex that you need to kind of say, oh, I need to take a step back from that. Or for me, I'll see it when I'm getting too nervous about being productive. Sometimes I'll see it when it's like, Mystic Michaela, take a step back. It's okay. You know what I mean? Like, chill out. You don't have to be such a workaholic right now. Like that. Yeah, move it. Like,
I love that. You got some good angels, right? Because I mean, when I think about, yes, of course, you're on the right path, and you trust your intuition and all the good. But to your point, we're all works in progress, and this idea of, hey, the signal is yes, positive, but it's like, where is there room to be, like you say, more self-aware, more accountable? And you're talking to a recovering workaholic myself. So this idea of pressuring myself to be more on the productivity side, I relate to fully. So it's like, there's only so much productivity one can achieve, and you do that extreme at a huge cost.
Yes. Yeah. And sitting with yourself when you're like taking a break from it can be a lot of anxiety. So it's kind of like your angels coming in and being like, it's okay. Now sit with this, and it's okay to be uncomfortable too.
Yeah, no, and that you'd referenced that a little bit earlier on when those so-called, bad. A lot of us, judge these more difficult emotions, but none of them are bad. They're all little messengers that are telling us, hey, like you said, it's pay attention. And the older I get, the more skilled I am in doing that. And this is coming from somebody who used to literally run. Like when I was hurt or lonely, put on my running shoes and run, right? Like, I don't want to feel it. Now I'm like, all right, actually, I need to feel it, So I love that idea of like making space, being curious for those feelings, because they do have something to teach us. And I feel like the more that I do that, the more it's like, I'm not letting go of them. They're letting go of me in a way that has been really cathartic. But let me ask you one or two more quick questions. I think you said there are no bad angel numbers, but are there warnings, or is there, like, if you ever see something, should you be like, oh my God, I need to really shift?
Yeah, I feel like the way I work, is very much kind of like the first feel, like any number you see is infused with an emotion too. That's part of the message. So when you see it, what's the first thing you felt? Now there's a couple of voices that can come at us. Ego is the loudest, but it is not the first. And ego is the one that's like, this is scary. This means bad things happening. Like, it's always fear or something. Fear or disbelief at the same time. So that's the loudest one, but that's not the first one. You have to pay attention to the first feeling you get. And sometimes you'll get something. And the way that warnings work from spirit is it's just kind of like a nudge, like, don't go out with that guy, or, maybe, get the Uber home instead of drive tonight. It's like a little feeling. And like, we've learned, I feel like we listen to that more as we get older. And because we've been kicked, so we learned our lesson. But you could think of it as just your intuition or your just inherent survival self that comes out very quietly, not with fear, just a nudge, like that kind of a feeling.
So let me end there. And I wish we had more time to talk. As a psychic medium or medium psychic, I want to make sure I got that right.
Psychic, whatever. Yeah.
Okay. So intuition, I would expect, is such a big thing that you do. Everybody has intuition. And I think a lot of us, and you reference this, when we're younger, we don't trust it as much, maybe. Do you have a tip or two for how we can tap more effectively into our intuition? Because there is so much value in that. And yet so many of us either don't know how, we don't trust ourselves, but you hear it all the time. When I trusted my gut, when I followed my intuition, this really great thing happened.
Yeah, I guess my quick advice would be pay attention and don't overthink it. So that's it. Just pay attention. You don't have to do anything just because you have a feeling about it. You can just sit with the feeling, acknowledge it, validate it, and that's it. A lot of times I'll tell people, like, just sit with it. Like, a lot of people we're in a society that's like, you need to know things immediately. Like, usually you have an intuition. I'm sitting with it. In a week, maybe I'll know better. Clarity can come with time. And I feel like it's just respecting that in yourself and sitting. And so yeah, pay attention and sit with it.
Oh, I love that. And yeah, don't overthink it. Oh, I love that so much, right? As a triple type A Aries, I used to feel like I got to make that decision right now. Like, I got to make it now. And, and somebody who might have even control issues, well, maybe I do, maybe I don't.
Indigos need like 7 to 10 business days. Indigos need.
Yeah. And now as I've cultivated that a greater sense of patience and trust to notice and sit with things, boy, I feel like my decision making has gotten so much better. And I feel like I've been able to hone my intuition much more by it's like a practice. It's like building a muscle.
It is. Yes, it's a muscle. Yes, you got that right.
Awesome. Okay, Mystic Michaela, thank you so much. Guys, if you want to follow her, she is at Mystic Michaela on Instagram. Her website is mysticmichaela.com. She's on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook. Her podcast is Know Your Aura. It's awesome. You are such a great guest. Thanks so much for being on Getting Open. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
All right. That's a wrap for today's show. I mean, I have a lot of takeaways. I think my number one thing for me, and just going to remind you, don't overthink it. How often are we all guilty of overthinking? And whether it's your angel number or what it's trying to tell you or your intuition, boy, our minds are so much more powerful than we often realize and give ourselves credit for. And it's so fascinating to talk to Michaela about how we can tap into things that feel really different, really unexpected, but just because they can't be measured and they're maybe not in air quotes mainstream, it doesn't mean that there isn't real power. And so when I think about the power of our hearts and minds and tapping into those positive emotions to improve our lives, so whether it's seeing angel numbers or being aware of our auras and so forth, I find it all just so fascinating. I hope you do too. I hope you got a lot out of the show. As always, if you're not following or subscribing to the show, please do, whether you're on YouTube, iHeart, Spotify. We bring the show to you with our full hearts and want to make sure you don't miss an episode. And as always, you can email me at gettingopen@yourtango.com. I always love to hear from you. And that's it. We'll see you next time.